Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode. We're here for round 5 of my drive. We are here for Monaco. 2 rounds of Monaco, the sprint race, the feature race, and as you can see on screen we are running a tribute helmet to Jules Bianchi, the same helmet he ran when he got an amazing result here in 2014. Points finish for Mauricio. It is no small order, that's quite a big job, so we're going to be honouring that by running the same helmet. Practice programs were okay. We got a little bit of an issue with track acclimatization. Eventually we got through it and we managed to do quite well. You can see we were struggling here also with the tyre wear program. We did manage to ace it in the end, but the first sector initially was quite a tricky one for us. And then for the race strategy, as you can see top left hand side, Bortoletto just pipped us, but we are doing well. We are fighting with quite a bit of traffic. Principality getting in our way, which is something we have to kind of contend with. But that's the benefit of qualifying. We are split into 2 groups. If you're unfamiliar with how F2 works, you're in 2 groups. You've got Group A, Group B, split between half the grid. So 10 teams in one, 10 teams in the other. And then you kind of see whoever's got the fastest time will then dictate the grid in an odd and even format. So in our case, if we top Group 1, we'll finish first, and whoever's finished second to us will start 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th. You kind of get the point. So for our first run, we have a bit of an issue because it is raining for us. So at this stage, we're unsure if we have gone out first or we're the second group. So if we are the second group, then that's a bit of an issue, because that means that the first group we've had the best track conditions. Obviously, as you can see, we're kind of sawing at the steering wheel trying to get around the corner as the rain starts to come down. So we go green sector 1, not purple, but we're kind of hoping that we are not the first of the group to be eliminated if we don't get through a decent enough lap time. By the end of the lap time, it's actually not been too bad. We have got a purple middle sector, as you kind of would expect around here. So hopefully we'll have to come back to the end and see how we're getting on with the groups. We've got a bucket load of wheel spin for good measure, so we definitely lost a couple tenths there. That puts us up into P3 behind Miata and behind Hadjar, ahead of Antonelli, which is the main thing. But we'll have to see how we go. And as you can see, we were the first group, meaning that the second group had to go out on full wets. So we do keep main positions, as you can see. So how it's split now, I'll be starting P5 for the feature race, which is good. We'll absolutely take that. We love that for us, in fact. So we'll continue on with the weekend, knowing full well that we are at a decently placed position for the feature race. Hopefully we can kind of do a bit of reconnaissance now and kind of see where we can overtake. We've got Isaac Hadjar, one of our championship rivals and season rivals, ourselves there. A little bit further back, as you can see, we're in P6 for this. We've got Paul Aaron behind us, Marty just ahead of us, Antonelli ahead for the start of the sprint race here in Monaco. The lights are out and we are getting off to such a good start. Once again, our starts have been unreal. I'm going to pull up alongside Antonelli. I'm going to tuck in just behind Hadjar. Antonelli's going to try and fight it round about side. We'll give him a little bit of a squeeze on the exit. We do make our way up into P4, just behind Dennis Hauger. And we've got, I believe, an AIX car this high up. I'm not sure what Barnard's doing this high up. He's going to get a bit of a nosebleed. We've got Colapinto currently leading the race, but we managed to slot ahead of Antonelli and Hadjar. So Hadjar's not had a great start, losing out to ourselves. But so far so good. As I say that, we did decide to have a little bit of a squirm into the hairpin, but we're going to try to keep on the back of Hauger, as we seem to have navigated the start of this sprint race. Looking at a replay from Antonelli's rear view, we go past Hadjar quite easily, and then we're going to go side by side with Antonelli into turn 1. Not quite heroics into Devote, but we give him plenty of room and we move on to lap 3. You can see we're still in this little train, still behind Dennis Hauger, followed by Barnard. Colapinto's got a little bit of a gap to Barnard, so he's definitely stretching away a little bit. We're kind of seeing whereabouts roughly Dennis Hauger's quick, and we're kind of a little bit stuck behind him a little bit. He's not got great pace. I kind of expected him to be behind the AIX racing car, but unfortunately he is kind of languishing a little bit. But we have been given the objective to pass him within 2 laps, so naturally that means we're going to have to pass him relatively quickish. We're quite quick through sector 1. Sector 2 we're pretty good, but sector 3 is just trying to get the right line through the final sector. You can see he has closed up a little bit to Barnard. We've closed up a little bit to him, so maybe now is a good opportunity to strike down his inside We're going to get up momentarily into P3. We're going to give him plenty of room. It looks like he's had a little bit of a moment. It's going to go extremely deep. We've made a bit of contact on the exit there. He kind of turns into us. We give him as much room as humanly possible, but apparently he wanted more. Unbelievable that from Dennis Hauger, but we managed to move up the position, move up to P3, and we're going to have a look at a replay. So we're going to go down his inside here. Plenty of space, a lot of quarters given. He hits our rear tyres. He kind of loses control a little bit, and then he just kind of understeers a little bit on exit. We obviously make a little bit of contact as we, coming from the outside line. Obviously, we're giving him plenty of room. We do kind of need to reappear at some stage. So, interesting that from Hauger. Looks like he may have picked up some front wing damage on the entry to the hairpin. I mean, we definitely made a little bit of contact, and speaking of which, he's coming to the pit lane for a change of front wing, so it would seem that he has had an issue with that front left hand side. But such is racing around Monaco. Any damage around here is bound to be something that's going to be happening quite regularly. So to the fact we've got to this stage and we've only got a little bit of front wing damage is quite a positive. We're behind Barnard, struggling with our tyres, and you can see there's a bit of an issue there, and I believe that's Miney who's decided to spin it on the entrance to the hairpin, and he's caused a little bit of a pile-up. Ordinarily, I reckon this would be a red flag, but the fact we're on the penultimate lap, I don't think we're going to get anything of the sort. Quite a few cars now are involved in this, and unfortunately, due to being at the end of the Grand Prix, nothing's going to come of it. So on the final lap, as you can see, it has been cleared, so the stewards have done a tremendous job in the 30 seconds they had to clear that. But nonetheless, we're going to come across the line for P3. We're going to come just behind Barnard. Couldn't quite catch up to him, but I think, P3 is more than suitable for our pace. But Paul Aaron coming home 6th, which is good for high tech. We really need to catch up some points in the constructors because we are languishing behind them, which is a real shame. But unfortunately, there's not really much we can do if Paul isn't really pulling his weight. But starting grid for the feature race, like I said before, Miata is on pole, followed by Ollie Behrman. It was a really good qualifying from Prema in grand scheme of things. You had Ollie Behrman in P2, and you had Antonelli a little bit further back. But it's not too bad in terms of everything else. How, guys, you can see behind us now, thank God. Colapinto, he's doing okay. He obviously winning the sprint race. You'd hope he'd do a little bit better. But as you get towards the back of the grid, you're seeing some familiar names that probably shouldn't be here, like the Shaw instance we had with him in Saudi, all the way back here. Bortoletto obviously did not have a very good qualifying, all the way down in P21. But nonetheless, we'll not be paying much attention to him. We'll be giving full attention to this race. And if there was a race you'd want to win, obviously it would be Monaco. Now, we've got a podium so far. We do need to claw some back on Antonelli and Hadjar now, because they've started to open up a little bit of a gap in the championship. And based off of our performances, they've been anything but consistent. So we just kind of need to get some consistent points under our belt, some consistent finishes. And hopefully we can do that right now. We've got Paul Aaron just ahead of us. We've got Hadjar, Behrman and Miata as the 5 lights for the Monaco Grand Prix are out, and we get off to a pretty good start. You can see we're already going to challenge our teammate. We already passed our teammate. We're going to make it 3 wide into turn 1 against Hadjar and Behrman. We're going to go on the left-hand side. We don't manage to get the job done, but Hadjar's going to be squeezed out by Behrman. So we're going to go side by side of Hadjar. There's going to be light contact. He's going to rip our floor to pieces as we climb up the hill. We managed to keep ahead of him, but we got just behind Behrman now. But our floor is in absolute tatters after that contact with Isaac Hadjar. We're going to see a replay from Paul Aaron, a teammate who really didn't get going anywhere. Luckily, we managed to navigate him, and you can see he's just licking his lips at the prospect of 3 wide at Sainte. Devote. Heroics for sure. And fortunately for us, Hadjar loses out to Behrman, which gives us a good run. But sadly, all the contact from here onwards is just ripped our floor to pieces. So we're up to P3, but what cost? We're obviously quite damaged. You can see on the bottom right-hand side, it's not in ideal conditions, and we're trying to navigate lap 1, trying to assess the damage and kind of adjust to it on the fly. It's the best we could do. But coming across the line to start lap 3, we have found our pace, we found our rhythm. We've kind of found what we can do with this damage, and it's not horrific, but at the same time, it would obviously be optimal to not have damage at all. Ollie Behrman, the car ahead of us, just behind Vittia and Miata, and Behrman is comfortably probably his best Grand Prix this, I'll have to be honest. So we're going to have to see what we can navigate him. We've got Hadjar, who seems to have got past Paul Aaron now as well, which is a bit of a shame. but this does mean we can try and get onto the back of Ollie Bearman. We're going to have a look up his inside into the final corner. He's going to give us room. We're going to go side by side, and we're going to exit with DRS, and we're going to leave Bearman in the dust with no DRS. Oh, in fact, he actually did get some off of Miata. So Hajar's going to maybe have a look at him now, but that was a sensational move up the inside of Ollie Bearman. We're going to see it from his rear view. We line him up prior to the corner, and we go up his inside. There's a little bit of contact tyre to tyre, but enough where it doesn't unsettle Bearman, and we get in, and we're now up to P2. Happy days, lap 6, almost at the halfway point. You can see our tyres are hanging on quite well. We're still behind Miata at this stage. Miata has a bit of a moment there, going through Casino Square, and he just almost loses the rear end. So Miata's are doing a little bit of a worse for wear as we almost rear end Miata. So I think we're both struggling for grip, and we're also still struggling for grip. We almost rear end him again, twice in 2 corners. We're sliding on the exit. I don't think our tyres are having a good time at the Monaco GP. Hopefully the fans around here are doing just as that. We'll have a little look at a replay as we speed up just to see the magnitude of this. You can see we get so close there, and then coming into the actual hairpin itself, we lose it on traction, and there's might have been a little bit of contact there, you know. I mean, we're sideways on the exit. We are fighting this car for all it's worth. So you can see we're following him all the way through. We're tucked right up his rear wing. So this might be a great opportunity to strike, similar to what we did with Bearman. We're going to go round his outside. There's a bit of a moment coming into the corner, so we're going to go all the way down the inside, and we've got the inside line. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to turn in, and we're going to get stuck on each other. Hajar's going to go through. We're stationary momentarily. We have gotten away. Miata's having to reverse to get away. Now let's just have a little look and see how this has even happened. So we go clear around his outside. We're almost at a full car length ahead, and he almost slingshots it all the way down. I don't think he was really ever going to make that. He broke so late, and because we were stuck on each other, obviously had to wait for Hajar to go before we could move. And we're going to see Hajar's on board. He's going to see us go into the corner side by side. He's going to come out of the corner, and thank you very much. I'm gone. P1, nice seeing you. So that's a bit of a unfortunate timing for us. You can see with safety car out, we're going to come in. We are changing our front wing, which I think we lost a bit too much aero, especially going into the wall there. But all these cars have passed us, meaning Hajar, of all people, is now in the lead. We've got a Prema 2-3, Collar Pinto's up to P4. So it's all kicked off, and we're going to seriously have to start making some moves if we want to have any chance of catching up to the Prema boys, who I said we're going to need to catch some points. But moving on to lap 11, we're going to dive it down the inside of Fittipaldi. That's a move and a half. Don't think he saw that coming anytime soon. What an overtake from us. So we're already up 1 position, as we've now got a little bit of a rival of ours, Marty, just ahead of us in P7. He's a tough nut to crack. We're going to do what we can. You can see we're on the back of Marty, lining up, kind of like we did to Ollie Bearman. We're going to chuck it down his inside, and there's going to be a little bit of contact. We seem to have made it through okay. He's still got DRS. Fittipaldi, I don't think he's going to have much chance trying to pass him, but you know, we're on the, what is effectively, you know, the penultimate lap. Now, we've made up a few positions. We've got Dirksen just ahead of us, and he's kind of being held up by our teammate, which is quite helpful. So luckily Paul hasn't really made a lot of inroads. You can see we're on the penultimate lap. We're still up the back of him. We're going to set him up very similar to what we just did to Marty. We're going to dive up his inside. We're a lot further along this time than we was with Marty, but we've got the job done. He has a little bit of a moment on exit, which might have given Marty an opportunity, and you can see we take the opposite line, we swing it all the way, and we're missing an end plate, which we must have got through the contact with the VAR that we overtook. But we're going to come across the line. It's not what we wanted, but based off the fact there's a bit of a recovery drive, we'll take P6 and P3. Unfortunately, Isaac Hajar has in fact won the race, which is detrimental to our championship challenge. With the Premas finishing 2-3 as well, definitely doesn't help us, but we're going to have to try and mount as much of a challenge back to try and close the gap as possible. But if you enjoyed the video, let me know what you thought of those overtakes. Let me know what was your favourite, the sprint race or the feature race. That's been it for the Monaco GP. The next one is going to be Spain. I will see you then. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.